Hi, I'm Captain Brian Fancher with Texas Fishing Tips, and this is your weekly fishing report. Well, if you go into Baffin and you head westbound down Rivera Channel and cut off just west of Penascal, working your way towards Corrales, I found some pretty decent schools of reds laid up here. Now, tied up on the south shore up there, there's some good grass flats running about 1 foot to 2 foot deep and some intermittent rocks mixed in there. I found most of the reds are hanging down in the grass, and even when I thought they weren't there, I found them again, just submerged slightly above below the grass line. So what I found I really like to do right now is I'm taking about a 5/0 rattling large hook, wide gap hook, and I'm putting a 6-inch jerk shad on there. Now it's making a lot of noise, and I'm rigging it weedlessly. That way, as I cast up in that grass, I can move it through that grass line, and I'm finding some good reds doing it that way. Now, another method for catching them along there is shrimp. Now, shrimp are coming back pretty good, and our perch are leaving us alone a little better now. So a shrimp under a popping cork is another surefire method to catch some of those reds through there. Now, my suggestion is to work this whole edge right there between Penascal and Corrales, and you'll find some reds laid up in there. They're spotty, but they're in there, and they're good-sized reds. Also moving more towards Corrales on the drop-off, just outside of it, is some trout. Now, if you can get your hands on croaker, which are spotty at this time, but you can pull your boat back up there, and with the southeast wind, I suggest staying on this end of Corrales and casting towards that drop-off. There's some grass, and there's a sand banks along there. Find you some good sand pockets and some grass areas, cast your croaker up in there, let them swim around, and you'll find the trout. The reds will eat the croaker too, but the trout prefer them. Now, coming right across to East Clayburg, if you go just west of East Clayburg, around this point right here, there's some more reds laid up in there, but a lot of good black drum. Now, the drum are running in pretty good schools. Look for the water to be kicked up, murky, and that's when you know the drum are feeding. What I'm doing is I'm taking about a 3/0 cale hook and putting a small split shot on there with a live shrimp. And I'm casting it up into these drop-offs. And you'll find there's a drop-off just south of this East Clayburg point here, and there's some deeper areas right around here where it's running about 7 foot deep, and that's where you're going to find most of your drum is laid in there. And in the early mornings and in the evenings you'll find them up in the shallower water, but as the day progresses, move deeper. I found a few schools of trout. They're not a lot, but there's a few of them on the west end of Tide Gauge. Again, some of them are in the deeper water, but I found the bigger ones laid up on the north end of the bar. Right up in here, it gets to be about 2 foot deep, and it's a real nice grass bed, and there's some good trout laid up in there. I suggest you park your boat on the bar, get out and do some wade fishing. Get in there with the fish. Throw some shrimp under a popping cork if you want to throw live bait. Other than that, I'm liking a weedless rig again. Just there's some thick grass, and it keeps the grass off your hook. Early in the morning, as the winds have been laid down, a top water is a great bet out there. It's a lot of fun. You'll get some good hits on there, and the trout just go in a feeding frenzy when they see those big top waters. Right now, my favorite color top water is the black and silver one, a little tip of orange on his nose. And to avoid some of that grass, I'm taking that back treble hook off, and I'm putting a single 2/0 cale hook on there so it doesn't just drag through the grass and catch a bunch of it. Now, I found a few reds hiding down here, and those flounder I talked about last week are still along there. As you're coming into the mouth of Baffin, look for those big sand pockets out on the west bank of the mouth, and from there over, there's big reefs out in this area. If you control a motor or work along there, just targeting those sand pockets with a jig head and a bass assassin or a sand deal, you're going to find yourself some good flounder and mixes of trout and a few reds around there. But be sure to check back next week. We're getting a lot more maps in here, and we'll be able to show you more areas where we've been catching a lot of fish. And don't forget to go while you're checking out our new stuff to TexasFishingTips.com to register for our weekly t-shirt and tackle giveaway and trolling motor brought to you by Gulf Coast Marine. I'm Captain Brian Fancher. Thank you for watching.